Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Today, we're diving into a fascinating mix of AI advancements and other interesting tech news stories. You ready?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right. So first up, we've got Google DeepMind's Alpha Geometry 2, and this thing is making waves. It's solving complex geometry problems, like way better than the average, math whiz. We're talking gold medalist at the International Math Olympiad level.
Yeah, it really highlights how rapidly AI is evolving.
Yeah,
This level of problem solving could have significant implications for fields like architecture and engineering, even graphic design. Imagine AI generating blueprints or optimizing complex design.
it's mind-blowing. But it also makes you wonder, like, what happens to the human element in those fields?
That's the big question, isn't it? As AI takes on more complex tasks, we might see a shift towards roles that require creativity, critical thinking, and the ability to work alongside these advanced systems.
Makes sense. Speaking of shifting landscapes, we've got some news from the world of robotics. Figure, a robotics company, decided to end its partnership with OpenAI.
Interesting development, right?
Yeah.
The Equity Podcast folks were discussing this, and they think it might signal a trend of companies wanting to develop their own AI solutions in-house rather than relying on partnerships.
So why go solo? Is it all about control?
It could be a number of factors. Maybe they're looking for a competitive edge by developing proprietary AI models that are, super tailored to their specific needs. Or perhaps they're concerned about things like data security and transparency when using a third-party AI.
Makes sense. It's a bit like choosing between building your own house or buying one pre-built. Sometimes you just want to customize everything to your liking.
Exactly. And this whole topic of control and customization brings us to a pretty big discussion point. Google recently removed its pledge not to develop AI for weapons or surveillance from its AI principles page.
Yeah, that definitely raised some eyebrows. AI expert Andrew Ng actually came out in support of Google's updated stance.
It's definitely a complex issue, strong opinions on both sides.
For sure.
On the one hand, you can see how AI could be used to enhance national security and potentially even save lives.
But on the other hand, giving AI a role in defense and surveillance raises serious ethical questions about things like autonomous weapons and the potential for misuse.
Right. It's a sensitive topic, and there's a lot to unpack there.
For sure. Shifting gears a bit, let's talk about funding and valuations in the AI world. Apparently, Safe Superintelligence, an AI startup founded by a former OpenAI co-founder, is in talks for a funding round that could value the company at a whopping $20 billion. That's a huge leap from its previous valuation. What's driving this kind of astronomical figure?
It's a combination of factors. There's a ton of investor enthusiasm around AI's potential to disrupt industries.
Yeah.
And it's seen as the next big technological wave. Plus, AI talent is scarce, and developing these sophisticated AI models costs a lot of money. Investors are basically placing bets on companies with strong teams and promising technology.
So it's like the gold rush of the tech world. Everyone's trying to stake their claim in the AI frontier. But amidst all this excitement, it's important to remember that technology has two sides to it.
Absolutely. And that leads us nicely into some other tech news stories that highlight both the opportunities and the challenges of our increasingly digital world.
Okay, hit me with it.
First up, we have Pinterest. They actually listed attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI initiatives as a potential business risk in a recent filing.
Wow, that's an interesting angle. What do you make of that?
Well, it highlights how sensitive this issue has become. Pinterest's statement suggests that even well-intentioned DEI efforts can face pushback and potentially hurt a company's reputation and ultimately their bottom line.
It's a reminder that navigating these topics in the business world requires a lot of careful thought and a willingness to engage in open dialogue.
Exactly. It speaks to the importance of fostering inclusive workplaces and societies where diverse perspectives are valued and respected.
Okay, on to our next story. This one hits close to home for a lot of companies: cybersecurity. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, a major tech company, is dealing with the fallout from a 2023 cyber attack that's been attributed to Russian government hackers. Apparently, personal information, including social security numbers and credit card data, was stolen.
It's a stark reminder of the growing threat of cyber attacks, especially those with potential state-sponsored involvement. Robust cybersecurity measures are absolutely essential for both businesses and individuals these days.
No kidding. Protecting sensitive data is paramount in our increasingly digital world. We need to be super vigilant about safeguarding our information.
Couldn't agree more. Cybersecurity is a concern for everyone.
All right, let's end this segment on a high note. We have Self-Inspection, a startup that uses AI for car inspections, raising $3 million in seed funding.
Seed funding, by the way, is basically the initial capital that a startup raises to get off the ground. And this is a really cool example of how AI can be used to simplify and democratize something that used to be pretty specialized. Imagine inspecting your car for damage or maintenance needs just using your smartphone and AI.
That would be a game changer. It
Yep.
would make car maintenance so much more transparent and accessible.
Right. And it shows how AI has the potential to revolutionize so many aspects of our lives.
Okay, that wraps up our Whirlwind Tech News Roundup for this part of the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from AI's problem-solving prowess to the importance of cybersecurity. Before we move on to part 2, I'd love to hear from you, our listener. What stood out to you the most so far? What are your thoughts on these AI advancements, and are you as excited about the future of tech as we are?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Be sure to leave a comment and let us know what's on your mind. And stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into these topics. Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. It's great to have you back as we continue our exploration of the latest happenings in the tech world.
So we were just talking about the incredible potential of AI and also some of the ethical challenges that come with it. And it feels like this is a theme that keeps popping up, right?
It absolutely is. As AI becomes more powerful and integrated into our lives, the ethical considerations become more and more important. It's like, we're on this fast-moving train, and we need to make sure we're laying the tracks in the right direction, as we go.
That's a great analogy. And we saw this play out with Google's decision to remove its pledge on AI development for weapons and surveillance, which sparks a lot of debate.
Right. There are valid points on both sides of that argument.
Yeah.
Some people believe that AI could enhance national security and potentially even save lives in those contexts. But of course, others are deeply concerned about the possibility of autonomous weapons and the potential for misuse.
It's a heavy topic, for sure.
Yeah.
And it highlights the importance of having these difficult conversations and establishing clear guidelines for responsible AI development.
Absolutely. We need to be proactive in shaping the future of AI and making sure it aligns with our values as a society.
Okay, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about the financial side of the AI boom. We mentioned earlier that Safe Superintelligence, the startup founded by a former OpenAI co-founder, is reportedly seeking a $20 billion valuation. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a staggering figure, but it reflects the enormous excitement and investment pouring into the AI space right now. Investors see AI as the next big thing, with the potential to transform everything from healthcare to finance to transportation. And they're willing to bet big on companies that are, leading the charge.
It's kind of like the Wild West out there, with everyone rushing to stake their claim in the AI gold rush.
That's one way to put it. But it's important to remember that not every AI venture is going to be a success story.
Right.
Some will thrive, some will fizzle out.
So what separates the winners from the losers in the AI race? Is it all about having the most advanced technology?
Technology is definitely a key factor, but it's not the only thing. Strong leadership, a talented team, a clear vision, and a solid business model are all crucial ingredients for success. And maybe even more importantly, it's about solving real-world problems in meaningful and innovative ways.
That makes sense. You can have the coolest tech in the world, but if it doesn't actually address a need or solve a problem, it's not going to go very far.
Exactly. It's about creating value, not just hype.
All right, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's loop back to a couple of the other tech news stories we touched on earlier. Remember Pinterest listing attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives as a potential business risk?
Yes, I think that was a really eye-opening statement from them. It highlights the fact that even well-intentioned DEI efforts can face opposition and potentially impact a company's reputation and bottom line.
It's a sensitive issue, and it seems like companies are trying to navigate a tricky landscape. On the one hand, they want to promote diversity and inclusion, but they also have to be mindful of potential backlash from certain segments of the public.
It's definitely a balancing act, but I think open communication, empathy, and a willingness to engage in constructive dialogue are key to moving forward on these issues.
Couldn't agree more. And then we had the cyber attack on Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, attributed to Russian government hackers, which really underscored the importance of cybersecurity.
It's a constant cat-and-mouse game in the cybersecurity world. As technology advances, so do the tactics of cyber criminals. It's essential for both businesses and individuals to stay vigilant and take steps to protect their sensitive data.
Absolutely. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication, being aware of phishing scams. Those are just a few basic things everyone can do to improve their cybersecurity.
Right. And for businesses, it's even more critical. They need to have robust security systems in place, regularly update their software, and train their employees on best practices.
It sounds like cybersecurity is something we all need to be thinking about, not just the tech experts.
Absolutely. It's a shared responsibility.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this segment. What are some key takeaways you want our listeners to walk away with?
Well, first, the AI revolution is here, and it's moving fast. We're seeing incredible advancements in AI capabilities, but we also need to be mindful of the ethical implications and ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly. Second, while there's a lot of excitement and investment in the AI space, it's important to remember that not every AI venture will be a success. Strong leadership, a solid business model, and solving real-world problems are all essential factors for success. And finally, in our increasingly digital world, cybersecurity is everyone's business. It's crucial to be aware of the risks and take steps to protect ourselves and our data.
Great points. Now, before we move on to part 3, where we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of tech, we want to hear from you. What are your biggest questions or concerns about AI? What tech trends are you most excited about? Head over to the comments section and share your thoughts. We'll be back soon with more Bite-Sized Tech.
Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech for the final part of our deep dive. We've been exploring some fascinating topics, from AI's potential to reshape industries to the importance of cybersecurity in our increasingly digital world. It's been a whirlwind tour of the tech landscape, and it's amazing to see how quickly things are evolving. It feels like every day brings news of a new breakthrough or innovation.
Yeah, it's true. And I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest takeaways for me has been the realization that we're all part of this tech revolution, whether we're, techies or not.
Absolutely. Technology is touching every aspect of our lives, from the way we work and communicate to how we shop and entertain ourselves.
And with AI in particular, it feels like we're on the cusp of some truly transformative changes. But as we've discussed, it's crucial to approach these advancements with a critical eye and consider both the potential benefits and the potential risks.
Right. It's not about being afraid of technology, but about, understanding it, shaping it, and making sure it's used ethically and responsibly. We need to ask tough questions about the impact of these technologies on our lives, our jobs, and our society as a whole.
We've talked a lot about the potential for AI to disrupt industries. And I think that's something that's on a lot of people's minds. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling a little anxious about the future of work in the age of AI?
That's a great question. And it's understandable to feel some anxiety about the unknown, but I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us as a society to guide its development and ensure that it's used in ways that benefit everyone.
So how can we do that? What can individuals do to prepare for a future where AI plays an even bigger role in our lives?
I think one of the most important things is to stay curious and keep learning. The tech landscape is constantly changing, so it's crucial to be adaptable and willing to, embrace new skills and knowledge.
So it's not necessarily about becoming a programmer or a data scientist, but about being open to learning new things and understanding how technology is evolving.
Exactly. And there are so many resources available these days: online courses, podcasts, books, you name it. There's no excuse for not staying informed and engaged.
It's like we're all students in the School of Tech, constantly learning and adapting.
That's a great way to put it. And another important thing is to be proactive in shaping the future of technology. Don't be afraid to speak up about your concerns, advocate for ethical guidelines, and support companies and organizations that are developing and using AI responsibly.
So it's not just about passively observing these changes. It's about actively participating and shaping the future we want to see.
Exactly. We all have a role to play in ensuring that technology serves humanity in positive and meaningful ways.
Well said. And I think that's a great note to end on. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of tech, remember to stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
And don't forget to have fun with it. Technology can be incredibly exciting and empowering.
Thanks for tuning in to Bite-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.